It's got extra musical numbers that are incredibly unnecessary that really add to that runtime, and let me go ahead and let you know that they're absolutely f***ing atrocious.
They say all you have to do to make your wish come true is let it echo, 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 echo.
Steven Spielberg, a legend, a filmmaker who's shaped the very DNA of modern cinema. So when a powerhouse like Spielberg allegedly starts voicing regret over working with you...
So apparently, according to them and according to the writers of Snow White, women can't even want to be in love anymore.
This is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Have they ever thought about maybe like a little bit of like, I don't know, vulnerability study, opposition research, that sort of thing, before you go and hire some Zoomer who's a lunatic?
That's not just bad press, that's career-threatening. And according to industry whispers, that's exactly the situation Rachel Zegler finds herself in right now. Zegler, once hyped as Hollywood's next golden girl, is now at the center of one of the most uncomfortable conversations in the industry. The same woman Spielberg handpicked for the lead role in West Side Story, the same woman Disney bet on to carry its Snow White reboot, all of that momentum is now being overshadowed by swirling reports of Spielberg's alleged disappointment with her behavior during production, and it couldn't come at a worse time. Zegler is already drowning in controversy over Snow White's box office disaster.
The new Disney boss babe, who is Rachel Zegler, the inverse of...
She came out and she said, I apologize. Like, I went too far. But it wasn't sincere.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
I sat through the whole thing. This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension. Racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.
The movie was supposed to cement her as the face of a new generation of Disney royalty. Instead, it tanked hard. And now with Spielberg's alleged frustration entering the chat, the narrative around Rachel has shifted from next big thing to major liability. But how did we get here? How does someone go from Spielberg's chosen star to the subject of his reported regret? Let's break it down. Let's be real. Rachel Zegler's rise wasn't just fast, it was historic. A literal unknown plucked from thousands of audition tapes by Steven Spielberg himself. Out of nowhere, this New Jersey teenager lands the coveted role of Maria in his long-awaited remake of West Side Story. It was the kind of Cinderella story Hollywood eats up, and Spielberg didn't just cast her.
So she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Queen, playing the evil queen. It was pretty amazing.
They spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live-action Disney remakes that they've ever had.
Controversy in Snow White. The dwarves have been eliminated in the live action.
Yeah.
Now it's Snow White and the 7 magical beings.
Wait, it's 7 and the magical beings?
Yeah,
They won't even say and the 7 dwarves?
No, because they're not dwarves. For right now, that's the only jobs that are there.
He championed her. He believed in her talent, her voice, her potential. Industry insiders claim that Spielberg even pushed for her to be considered for Disney's Snow White, fully expecting her star to shine just as brightly there. It wasn't just casting, it was an endorsement from one of the most respected directors in history. Spielberg was handing Zegler the keys to the kingdom. In interviews, Zegler often shared how surreal the experience felt, describing Spielberg as supportive, even paternal, at times. Their working relationship was framed as this feel-good story of a legendary director nurturing fresh talent. People genuinely believed she was being positioned as the next big thing. But behind the Hollywood smiles and red carpet moments, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. Because according to multiple reports, Spielberg's faith in Rachel Zegler didn't just fade overnight.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
It's awful, generic. Never mind that the lyrics make no sense at all. All you have to do to make your dream come true is let it echo. Is it like on a metaphor?
Broke out with this news, and I'm very, very, very excited and looking forward.
It started to crack wide open during the actual production of West Side Story. And the more you hear about what went down behind the scenes, the harder it is to ignore the signs that things were unraveling fast. Yes, Zegler nailed the audition. There's no denying that. Her voice was powerful, her screen test looked promising, and Spielberg himself was the one who believed she could carry the weight of Maria, one of the most emotionally demanding roles in musical theater history. But what Spielberg reportedly didn't see coming was how drastically different that audition energy would be from her attitude once the cameras were rolling. Word on the lot was that Zegler showed up with something else entirely, an ego that didn't match her resume. Crew members began whispering about her so-called diva behavior, difficulty taking direction, constant pushback on creative decisions, and an inability, or maybe just unwillingness, to collaborate like a true professional.
Last week was a very big week, objectively a huge week. We had quite a few announcements. Our first live-action film, which is Snow White and the Evil Queen. And that's me, I'm Snow White, which is so funny.
Oh my God.
Pretending like Rachel Zegler is the first of them all when she looks like Lord Farquaad in the film.
And this wasn't just your typical actor-director tension. According to insiders, this was next-level friction. Spielberg, a director who's worked with some of the biggest names in the business, Tom Hanks, Leonardo DiCaprio, Meryl Streep, has built his reputation on fostering respectful, collaborative sets. He's not the kind of director who tolerates games or drama. But with Zegler, the vibe reportedly turned sour. Fast. Sources claim that what started as a few eye rolls and disagreements quickly escalated into frequent challenges against Spielberg's direction. Zegler allegedly questioned shot choices, argued over line, deliveries, and pushed back on scene interpretations that didn't align with her vision. And here's the thing, Spielberg was the guy who gave her this opportunity. He discovered her. He was rooting for her. But behind the scenes, the story changed from praise to concern. One crew member reportedly described the atmosphere on set as walking on eggshells anytime Zegler wasn't getting her way.
For remaking the movie, they just got rid of the dwarfs. But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group, you just erased that whole
lines that they say, like magic mirror on the wall. It was a lot of fun.
Rachel Zegler, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infantata is the only global solution.
Disney deleted Someday My Prince Will Come and made a modernized feminist alternative.
What was supposed to be a harmonious creative process slowly became a daily grind of managing egos. An experience that Spielberg, by all accounts, did not sign up for. The real sting? Spielberg wasn't just directing any film, this was West Side Story, a project deeply personal to him. It was a passion piece, a remake of a film that meant something to his childhood. For him, this wasn't just a job, it was legacy work. And watching his lead actress allegedly disrespect that process, that, insiders say, was the moment the admiration started to curdle into frustration. Publicly, Spielberg stayed composed. He praised the cast during press tours. He played the role of the supportive director because that's who he is, a consummate professional. But behind the polished interviews, insiders claim the conversations within the production team had shifted. The buzz wasn't about Zegler's talent anymore. It was about her attitude, her reliability, her respect, or lack thereof, for the magnitude of the opportunity she'd been given. Some even say Spielberg felt personally let down. He had handpicked Zegler out of thousands of hopefuls. He believed she could rise to the occasion, that she could handle the weight of such a massive breakout role. But as filming dragged on and the tension mounted, that belief allegedly started to erode. And the worst part? This was supposed to be it for her, the defining moment. The big break that would launch her straight into A-list territory. The role that could have secured her spot alongside Hollywood royalty. But instead, according to those who were there, what unfolded was a slow-motion implosion of what could have been a dream collaboration. Because what happens when your biggest champion starts having second thoughts? When the very person who discovered you begins to regret the decision? It doesn't just follow you, it defines you. And the nightmare for Rachel Zegler didn't stop when the final scene of West Side Story wrapped. If anything, it was just getting started, because what came next would only make the rumors louder and the backlash even worse. If the rumors from set were the first crack in Rachel Zegler's polished image, her behavior off set was the sledgehammer that blew it wide open. Zegler didn't just shoot herself in the foot, she practically aimed a cannon at her own career. It started with the bizarre press tour for Snow White, where she relentlessly bashed the original 1937 film that made the role iconic in the first place. In interviews, she called the original story weird, creepy, and extremely dated. But the line that really set the internet on fire, when she called the prince a guy who literally stalks her. That quote spread like wildfire. People weren't just annoyed, they were furious. Fans of the original felt insulted. Disney, Purists felt betrayed, and neutral moviegoers were left wondering why someone would trash the very film they were hired to remake. It came off arrogant, tone-deaf, even ungrateful. And just when it couldn't get worse, Rachel went political. Loudly, she posted on social media voicing support for Palestine during a period of intense global conflict. Regardless of where you stand, it was a risky move, one that instantly divided audiences. On top of that, she took jabs at Trump and his base, which only added gasoline to an already raging fire. It wasn't about having an opinion, it was the smug, dismissive way she broadcasted it that alienated entire sections of the public. It was like she thought she was untouchable, like she had no idea that in Hollywood, perception is currency, and she was burning hers at both ends. But here's the kicker. This wasn't just a few bad tweets. These controversies didn't stay confined to fan forums or gossip pages. They reached boardrooms, Disney boardrooms. And what happened next proved it. The fallout wasn't just social, it was financial. Disney's Snow White remake, once positioned as the next Beauty and the Beast level hit, flopped. Spectacularly, the studio had poured in hundreds of millions, banking on nostalgia, star power, and musical charm, but the backlash against Zegler created a storm that no amount of CGI could cover up. The film barely made a dent at the box office. Critics were lukewarm, audiences were cold, and merch sales? Practically non-existent. It was a failure by every measurable metric, and people started asking the question no one wanted to say out loud. Was Rachel Zegler the reason? Inside sources suggest Disney execs were blindsided. What started as "we're making Snow White for a new generation" turned into "how the hell did this go so wrong?" Zegler's attitude, her social media antics, her tone during interviews, it all became baggage. Baggage Disney suddenly realized it couldn't afford. Studios took notice. Casting directors started hesitating. Producers started whispering. Her name, once attached to exciting new projects, suddenly became a risk, a wild card, a warning sign. And remember, this is all unfolding while Spielberg, the man who discovered her, is allegedly voicing his own frustrations behind the scenes. If he is backing away, what does that say to the rest of Hollywood? It says, proceed with caution. Or maybe don't proceed at all. Rachel Zegler was handed the dream on a silver Spielberg-plated platter. She had the world's most respected director in her corner, a starring role in a legendary musical, a Disney princess contract, global attention, unmatched opportunity, and what did she do with it? She mocked the classics. She antagonized fans. She clashed with mentors. And in doing so, she may have burned every bridge built for her. Steven Spielberg's alleged regrets are more than just a personal disappointment. They're symbolic. They reflect a deeper issue in Hollywood, the fine line between authenticity and arrogance, between boldness and recklessness, between talent and tact. Zegler might still have talent, but in today's cutthroat industry, that's no longer enough, especially when even your biggest advocate, someone like Spielberg, is reportedly distancing himself. So the question now isn't just whether Rachel Zegler will bounce back. The question is, does Hollywood even want her to? Because in an industry where reputation moves faster than any headline, one wrong move can end it all.